maybe he'll play, no, maybe he'll do his leadership. So he's going to play his leadership card. So he gets to give a wild token to another character. So he gets a move, leadership, and gets a heroic. So he will, I guess, rescue a civilian from here. Then he also will, he'll also move over to where these guys are at the Xavier Institute of Learning. Then he gets to give a wild token to another hero. I think he will give it to Professor X. So Professor X will get a wild token. Okay, so that's the three heroes have gone. Goes back to the Juggernaut. So okay, wow, good draw. Not too bad. So now Juggernaut is going to move counterclockwise too. So he's at Mirror Island. Then he's going to bam, but he has no one to bam to deal damage to. So that's really good. The heroes don't have to worry about taking any damage. But he has his Crimson Cosmo armor. So if any Avatar Sidorak threat cards have been cleared, put one of them back in play in the next counterclockwise location without a threat. So that really stinks. He's bringing back his Avatar, his Crimson, the Sidorak. So the Avatar Sidorak, so that's going to go over to Asteroid M. So we no longer get the benefit of Asteroid M. So he has two of his Avatar Sidoraks back into play. So that is not good, because as long as one or more Avatar Sidoraks are in play, Juggernaut ignores one damage each hero location. So that's really no good. Okay, so back to the heroes. So Professor X's turn, he draws a card, so he's back at 3. So he drew the move and punch, and he gets a heroic from Cyclops. And he's at the Xavier Institute. So I think he will play a move and heroic for Wolverine. Wolverine doesn't draw any cards also for his healing because he's already at 3 cards in his hand. So Professor X, move it and a double heroic. I could lay down 2 for the power of Sidorak to clear it. But then Juggernaut will be going after every 2 turns. So probably best, and we're only 1 away also from defeating the thugs for clearing that out. So this is a tough choice here. I think if I clear the threat, because if I put down 2 heroics and maybe Wolverine punches, we could get at the Juggernaut. So I think that's what I will do. I will use 2 heroics to put down on the power of Sidorak. So I put those down, and then Professor X can move, or he could stay. Maybe he'll move over to the Hangar Bay, just so when Juggernaut might come around this way. Or he could come around clockwise, but we'll see, I guess. So that's Professor X, so he's giving Wolverine a move and a heroic. So now it's Wolverine's draw. So he gets to draw an extra card. Oh, and I think also I have a wild to play. So maybe I'll go back and just clear out altogether the power of Sidorak. That's good. Maybe I'll just do that, because Professor X had a wild token from before. So that is cleared right out. Power of Sidorak. So now you may draw cards until you have 3 cards at that location when you end your turn. So that's really good, because he's only at 2 cards, so he could draw an extra card ending his turn at the Xavier Institute. So he will draw a leadership card that gives 2 heroics to another player. Okay, so now it's Wolverine's turn. So, and also we cleared out this threat here. So that is gone. So now the Juggernaut will be going after every 2 cards that the heroes play. So So that's taken care of. So now we go to Wolverine. So Wolverine's going to draw a card. And he draws a double punch. So now his hand looks like this. 2 heroics, 2 walls, and a punch. So if I just play maybe a single punch card, and that will be added to the move and heroic that Professor X gave. So now Wolverine could punch the thug there. So that also clears out the other mission for defeating thugs. So now we could go after the Juggernaut and try and hurt him. So Wolverine played a punch. He also has a move and heroic. What will Wolverine do? He will move in heroic. I think he will. That space has pretty comfortably. He'll go over here, I think, move, and then save a civilian from over here. So move in heroic. All right. So now it is the Juggernaut's turn, even though Cyclops didn't go, because now once you cleared the first mission, the villains go after every 2 hero cards. So Professor X and Wolverine have gone. So Juggernaut gets this card. Move to the next clockwise location with the most heroes. So Cyclops and Professor X would be the most heroes. So we move to that clockwise. And then it's not a ban, but he's doing an unstoppable charge. Deal 1 damage to each hero in Juggernaut's location. So Professor X and Cyclops are taking 1 damage. So that kind of stinks. Professor X is going to lose a card. I guess he will lose... he'll lose a double heroic card that he had, so that's going to go away. And Cyclops has to lose a card. He has 3. He will lose the single punch card that he has. He's going to lose his card. So now they're down to 2. And then Juggernaut gets to put down some guys here. So he's putting down on his left side, he's putting down a thug and civilian. And on the right side, he's putting down a thug and civilian. So luckily there is room. So... and you always put down the thug, civilian. Thugs always go first. And on the right side, thug and a civilian. Okay, so now it is back to the heroes. It is Cyclops' turn. So he gets to draw a card. He drew a leadership card. And... we also are able to start punching the Juggernaut, but the only thing is, there's 2 Avatar of Siderax in play, so as long as 1 or more Avatar Siderax are in play, Juggernaut ignores 1 damage each hero turn. So he's going to ignore 1 damage if Cyclops decides to punch him. So he has 1 punch already from Wolverine. Well, maybe I will play his Optic Blast. This is a good time out to play that, probably. So, he gets to punch in both adjacent locations. So, he's going to take 1 from here. So, that doesn't cause overflow. And he's also going to take 1 from here because he gets to punch in both adjacent locations. He's shooting his Optic Blast in both locations. Now, he has a single punch plus a punch from Wolverine. So he's going to do 1 damage to Juggernaut, but it says on the avatars, as long as 1 or more Avatar Siderax are in play, Juggernaut ignores 1 damage from each hero turn. So Juggernaut ignored 1 damage because Wolverine gave him a card and Cyclops has his own card. So Cyclops couldn't use the first punch, but he used his second punch to take off 1. But he also has 2 punch tokens from earlier. So he's going to take off 2 more off Juggernaut. So Juggernaut is losing another 2 from Cyclops. Cyclops was able to punch him. So that's really good because one was ignored, but the other 3 got through. So that's really, really good. So that was Cyclops' turn. So now it goes to Professor X. He draws a card. And he has a punch from Cyclops. So I think Professor X will play a move and punch. So he's going to play that. So again, Juggernaut will ignore the first punch from Professor X, but Professor X, with his mental telepathy, gets a psychic blast through on Juggernaut. So that deals him another damage. And then Professor X will get to move. So he will probably, I guess, move over to this location with Wolverine at the hangar bay. Or maybe he will stay. He'll stay at the Institute because then he could draw another card. And Cyclops as well actually gets to draw another card. So let me draw another card for Cyclops for ending his turn at the Xavier Institute. Okay, so that was 2 heroes have gone, so it goes back to Juggernaut. So Juggernaut now has 4 cards left. So he's going to move, and bam, so 1, 2, 3. He's going counterclockwise, and then his bam, deal 1 damage each hero in locations Juggernaut left, entered, or moved through. So each hero is taking damage, so Professor X going to lose a card. He's going to lose his Genius Intelligence card. That'll go to the bottom. Wolverine going to lose a card. He'll lose his double heroic that he has. That's gone. Cyclops will lose a card. He'll also lose his... he'll lose his double heroic that he has as well. So each player is down to 2 cards. Then Juggernaut will add thugs to the board. So he adds a thug to Asteroid M, 2 thugs to the Mirror Island, and 1 thug to Weapon X Facility. Okay. So now it is Wolverine's turn. He gets to draw a card for healing, and he gets to draw a card for his turn. So now Wolverine has Adamantium Claws, Double Wild, Movement, Double Wild, so he's looking pretty good. And he gets a movement and a punch from Professor X. So I think he's going to use his Adamantium Claws. So that's going to go to the storyline. So he gets a double move. 1, 2. And then he gets 3 punches. So Juggernaut will ignore the first one, but he will take 2. He's ignoring Professor X's punch, but Wolverine's using his Adamantium Claws. So he does 2 damage on the Juggernaut. So now Juggernaut is down to 2 life points. All right. So now it is Cyclops' turn. So he draws a card. It's a double punch, and he has a move from Wolverine. If I play... maybe if I play just a double wild. So Cyclops will move. I guess this way. 1, he'll use the wall to move again. And he will, he has 1 extra wild, so he just punched a thug from this location here. Then, at the end of turn, you may discard 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to gain 2 punch tokens, but I don't want to risk that and have Juggernaut knock me out, because Cyclops only has 2 cards left. So, that ends the turn, because now it's back to the Juggernaut. So, Juggernaut will go, he's moving counterclockwise 4 and bamming. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He's at the hangar bay. Everyone takes damage. So Professor X taking damage. He's gonna maybe lose his mind alteration card that he picked. So he's down to 1. Wolverine gonna lose his double punch that he has. So he's down to 2 cards. Cyclops is gonna lose his leadership card. So he's down to 1. And then Juggernaut will add thugs to the board. So he's adding a thug in adjacent locations. And 2 thugs to his area, but it's going to cause overflow. So he's able to add a thug, but the second thug won't be added because of overflow. So special rules for Juggernaut, he puts down a card face down in the pool. So now we're down to, he's down to 1 other card now to draw. So the hero's really got to move here to beat him. So it goes back to Professor X. Wolverine heals a card. So he's going to draw that. So Wolverine's at 3 cards. Professor X draws a card. So now he's at 2 cards. And he's getting a double wild from Cyclops from the previous turn. I think he's got to go for, we got to go for it here. So he's going to play his wild. So he will move over and do 2 punches, but Juggernaut only takes 1 because of the Avatar Sidorak. So Professor X trying to use his mind control on him and does 1 damage on him. So that ends Professor X's turn. Wolverine gets to draw a card. So he's at 4 cards now. And he has a wild from Professor X. So 1, 2. Yeah, so looks like the game is going to be over. Wolverine will play the wild token and his adamantium claws. So he uses the 2 wilds to move. Juggernaut ignores the first adamantium claw but eats the second adamantium claw. Boom. Game is over. So wow, came right down to the wire. The Juggernaut had 1 more card left here. This was his last card. And I still believe once he goes, once to be the following turn after, if he couldn't play a card, then we would lose because then he'd have run out of cards to play on his turn. So yeah, really, really good game. Really thematic. I like with the X-Men set. The guys are really, they feel like the X-Men. They have their powers. It's a little more thematic than the original core set of Marvel United. Some of the characters again have their. All the characters have some sort of ability or trait or whatever that's thematic to them, but I felt that like certain characters like Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow, they're just falling maybe a little short on another ability or trait that they could do in this game. I think other people have kind of maybe fan-made, cards for them to kind of make up their skills or abilities. But to me, the X-Men set though was really, really good. I've painted a lot of these figures already. Like I have, there's one of my best figures I painted out of this, Magneto. So these guys paint up really, really nice. They really are a joy to paint if you're a painter. Here's Beast. So yeah, these guys, they paint up nice. They also have nice thematic bases. So that's pretty cool. For painting, here's Jean Grey. So I painted Jean Grey. So hopefully you can see that. So yeah. I'll show you the other ones as well, because I painted up the whole set. Here's Mystique. So the cool thing about this set too, like they have villains and then they have like anti-heroes. So they have like these they're purple, so they can be played as heroes and villains when playing the game. Hopefully, there we go. So you see what they look like. See what she looks like better. I also painted Storm. I painted up the whole set. So there's Storm. She looks pretty good. And last but not least in this set, Sabretooth. I don't know. So he was kind of, I guess, boring to paint a little bit, but he came out pretty good, I think. He looks pretty good. So yeah, so you have 10 characters in the set. You have two main villains that are just straight out villains. Then you have two anti-heroes that can be played as villains and heroes. So that's Mystique and Magneto. And then you have 6 X-Men to use. So a very, very good, varied set than the original Marvel United. And again, these guys, their abilities, very thematic to the X-Men. The places that you play at, the locations, and the way the villains move and interact are very thematic to their counterparts. So again, for a game that's seems relatively easy, and it is to play. It is to play. It's because all you're doing is using the symbols to do what you can on the board, but it really does have the thematic feel because the person that goes before you, you're getting to use what they are able to put down. So that really helps in playing. It actually alters how some people are played. Like for instance, Professor X is playing before Wolverine in this game, so Professor X is a little more heroic, supportive. So that makes Wolverine, who's mainly more aggressive fighter, a little more heroic. That he's able to do more heroic things on his turn, as opposed to let's say if he had maybe like a Hulk or something before him, then he'd be really, really an aggressive fighter. Like he'd always be, Hulk, because Hulk has a lot of punches and that. So then that would affect like the player after. Like let's say in this case Wolverine, then he'd be really aggressive fighter, probably more a fighter than heroic saving people or clearing threats. So it all depends too, like who goes before you and what symbols they're able to play. But once you get the hang of it, and you get the hang of the way maybe some of the villains take their turn and what their threats are and that, then you kind of solve the puzzle of how to beat them. And I think what makes the game great and what this box brings too, if you just have the core box as well, is that you get to see a little bit more of a scope of how the villains play out and their ways of fighting and threats and stuff like that. And then and each villain is different to beat. Each has their own unique way to win, and also they're a unique way to almost beat them. For this game, for fighting Juggernaut, you're trying maybe to clear out these Avatar of Sidorak cards that are he's avoiding damage with. But as you can see, he came back, so he's always kind of armoring up. So he's avoiding at least the 1 damage per hero turn. So so that makes it a little tougher. And then it kind of came back. Now I'm not sure on the threats. If a threat comes back, does the if you cleared it, does the icon come back? Where you have to re-clear the threat again? If someone knows that, maybe you could lay a comment or whatever if I played that wrong. But it feels. I mean, you're still losing the benefit of a place that you cleared out and getting the end of turn effect. But I don't know if I played it wrong. Please let me know. Because I guess that would really make Juggernaut even more harder. Which would also be thematic as well. But But again, yeah, very, very, very cool game. I cannot wait till I get the rest of my Kickstarter stuff. I mean, I've got a whole box load of other characters from the first season and then the X-Men season. So I invested in pretty much everything except for a few minor things I didn't really need. But yeah, overall, a very fun game, and I hope you get the gist of how the game is played. At least if I was playing it wrong or if I made any mistakes, sorry, but I hope in the near future that I could get more of these games happening. I have a lot of other Marvel United stuff coming in. I'd like to paint them all up before I play them because that's just how I am. I kind of like to paint the guys first, and I feel like I'm unlocking them to play in the game on the tabletop. So it'll be cool when I get those other figures. But yeah, I would like to do other games. Especially I have a lot of Zombie Side and Street Masters, Vampire Hunters and Conan and all those other games to get to the tabletop and play a lot of. So yeah, hopefully if you guys would like to see me play, more tabletop games, just maybe lay comments in. I'll see if I can get them painted up and ready to go. But yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed this game. Took maybe a little longer because I'm playing three different characters by myself and trying to talk about what's going on in the game. But yeah, overall, it's a game that usually takes maybe roughly half an hour to play. At most 25 minutes to half hour. So yeah, very good game. I really love this game. If I have to give it a rating, I'd probably give like the core set of the Avengers X-Men United probably a 6, and this I would probably give an 8, and then if you combine them together, then you'd probably get an 8, an 8.5. And I'm sure when the other sets come in, I'm sure it'll probably be more like a 9 out of 10 because it is really easy to get to the table and set up and take down. So that's the beauty of this game. So again, thanks very much for watching, and I hopefully I plan to do some more videos, but it's tough with life and things are always going on around you. But I love trying to show you guys different things and different games and books and whatnot, different hobbies and interests that I have that maybe that you would like or affect your decisions to maybe purchase anything. So yeah, thanks again, guys, and hopefully you're all doing well and healthy out there, and hopefully I will be making another video soon. So thank you for your time, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. And if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them. Okay, have a good day.